Okay, welcome back to another video. I'm pretty excited today. I've had this watercolor set now for a while, several weeks, and I'm just now getting around to playing with it. And forgive my band-aid on my finger. I accidentally cut it while I was throwing my dog's ball outside. But despite the band-aid, we are going to open this watercolor paint set. They're all pastels. It's by the Typo brand. If you go to CottonOn.com, which I'll link below, these were on their website, and they're very inexpensive. I think I paid like $14 for them maybe. So I have very low expectations, but I had to finish some projects before I could get to this, and now it's finally time. So now we're going to go ahead and open these up, and we're going to swatch them on this paper. Let's see here. I just love anything that's pastel. They're very cute. I mean, I just like the aesthetics of them, even if they're not very good. I'm very excited. Is this a box or is it just the set? Oh, I was hoping it had like a lid, and it doesn't. I don't think I'm going to put these in a palette. I think I'm going to directly swatch them out of the tube, just to make it easier. And I feel like I need something to hold this down. This is the Claire Fontaine Paint On sketchbook. My other sketchbooks that I usually work in are getting kind of full, so now I'm having to swatch in this one. This is the one that I swatched my highlighter colors in. So let's start here with titanium white. Oh, gotta open them. So the titanium white, from the get-go, it already looks like it's not very opaque. That's kind of my greatest fear with cheap watercolor supplies. I really prefer the chalky, opaque, almost gouache-like watercolors. I like gouache as well, but when I'm going for watercolors, that's what I like. Oh, gotta pop that one open too. These are not horribly full like some watercolors usually are, where they just come squirting out. So that's the pale lilac. I'm going to zoom ahead into the future and show what these look like when they are all swatched out and dry. The pale lilac, for whatever reason, doesn't want to dry, but you know what? I want to try and see if I can do a gradient with the pink and the yellow. The reason why I made the gradient is because I have an illustration idea that I've already drawn, and I was thinking about using these watercolors to paint that with, but I don't think I'd be able to use that. Illustration's a little bit more like less colors. I don't feel like I'd use this whole range in there. I don't know, I could, but also I was thinking about doing the background, but I'm not sure that these are going to be pigmented enough to fully cover an entire background. So that might have to be something that I do with your typical regular gouache or acrylic gouache. And so what I do like about these watercolors, like, I can tell that they're not great quality just by the way that they've dried. They're just not very pigmented. It took a lot of paint to get these swatches as it was, and usually if you use a more high quality product, very little amount of paint goes very, very far. These I had to use a lot of paint to get this much. So that already tells me it's just not very pigmented. But what I do like about them is I do kind of like the color choices, of course. I do technically think that the colors are pretty. Like this chestnut would be one that I would wish that I had in a more professional brand paint. I am constantly on the lookout for like that perfect lion colored tan or like peach. If you've not noticed, I use a lot of that color. So that is a color that I would want in like a more professional brand paint. This washed emerald is actually kind of really pretty as well, even though I don't use like greens or teals very often. And then sandstone. Sandstone is actually, I have a very similar color to this in the White Nights pastel set. And that sandy type color is fabulous for shading in fur and also for doing like rocks. Rocks can be a lot of fun to do. I do enjoy those. So that would be great for doing that. So I think what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go in another direction, because what I've also been wanting to do recently is I've been dying to do like a llama. So I think we'll just do like a real fun, quick, not very serious, colorful rainbow llama. So I'm gonna get reset back up. I gotta go change my water out and wait for this to fully dry. We'll flip the page and we're gonna draw like a llama real quick. I don't generally draw on camera because I find it really difficult, but I'm looking at just stock photos of llamas, and I'm just planning on doing like a real simple like side profile llama, like Cusco from Emperor's New Groove. I just want it to be very fluffy, and then in like a traditional, you know, what you usually see, like the traditional Peruvian costume, just so that we can purposefully get all those colors in. I'm sketching in orange, so it might be kind of difficult to see, but I'm looking for just like traditional costuming, and then I don't have a lot of patience for drawing costumes, so we're just gonna do something really simple. I want like tassels, I want like a little coat for him to wear. So we're just scrolling through some references trying to find something that I would be lazy enough to draw. And pretty quickly we have a relatively decent looking llama that I'm not willing to spend more time on. I'm gonna really quickly, just because I am a little OCD about the way my sketchbooks look, I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly paint in a pink background in acrylic gouache, and then we'll get started on the watercolor portion of it. Okay, so my pink is all dried. I don't know if y'all will be able to tell. I squirted some of the titanium white into my palette, and that's the titanium white from this tube, and this is dried Winsor Newton white gouache. Look at like the difference in the color. That's like a, I don't know, like a shell white, not necessarily titanium white. So that's kind of funny. I'm gonna go ahead and start painting the white of my llama dude, and then I don't really have a plan. All the decorations and such, we're just going to kind of wing it, just so that I can use that entire set of colors. So we're just going to start painting him white first. gonna break in the sandstone to add in some shadows. It's really hard not to cheat because I know that I have a much more opaque white that I could be using, and I would get a lot more of the texture that I like if I just used it. I'm not going to promise I'm not going to cheat. So y'all, I had to go answer the door because a package was just delivered, and I did it again. I gave myself another big cut trying to open a package, so I'm just going to be band-aid hands. All right, anyway, continuing on. I'm just mainly having an issue with the white. It's hard to explain it when I use my normal like Holbein white or my Winsor & Newton white. Usually when I paint, I can just kind of like make lines like dashes. And then those dashes will create me like a fur effect. It kind of turns into like a clump, and then I can turn that clump of paint into like a clump of fur. This paint is not doing that. I don't know how to explain what it wants to do. I mean, I can work around it. I'm gonna have to work around it. But it almost like it wants to just like maybe puddle. It doesn't even spread like your normal watercolor. It more just kind of creates just like a immovable blob that doesn't really do anything, which is not fun. I'm having to use this sandstone color a lot to help create my like clump shapes. And mainly I'm getting mad like right here, and I'm getting mad like right here. I just want nice little separation of pigment, and it won't do it. It's almost like using a chisel end of a marker instead of having the brush tip of a marker. There's a fuzzball in there. But anyway, we'll just give up on white for right now, and we'll just go ahead and color in with some colors. I don't know what I want to do. We'll just do, I don't know, like, I don't know, is this culturally sensitive if I just color this however? Is there a pattern I'm supposed to do it with? I just wanted to use every color in the box. So we're going to do like maybe blue here. I've seen like in reference photos of these decorations where they'll have like rainbow tassels around their necks, or they'll be like a bright red. I don't have that. I mean, I can make a rainbow. I don't have a bright red. We're just going to use, do I want that to match? Do I want, I have lilac. Maybe I'll just make this match. I do have a lot of green too. It's kind of interesting too that the color almost like it spreads after it's done drying, or when it's in the process of drying. If you use like more professional watercolors, in my experience, watercolors usually obey the boundaries of pencil. So if you, this has been my experience, maybe I'm just good handling a brush, I don't know, but if you draw with pencil, the watercolor stays in between the lines. It just obeys those boundaries. These are not. They're smearing into their neighboring cousins. That kind of gets on my nerves. Also, these colors are obviously not very pigmented. So what may need to do is, well, we're going to have to go over it with a second layer, but also I was trying to use one of each color. We're going to have to use one of each color, but some of the darker colors are going to have to be the shadows for the other colors, or else they're not going to show up. So yeah, we'll just continue working. I have successfully used every color in this box. You may not believe me, but I have. I'm just going over it again, second try at getting some of these colors to show up a little bit better. I used that chestnut, this peachy chestnut color, in just little bits. It's on his feet and his eyeballs and his nose on the inside of his ears. I've mished some of the yellows and the oranges together. Oh no, I missed a spot. I missed his little collar. Okay, well, we can do that as well. The one color that I was having an issue with, is because they're all running together, is the powder blue, because it just doesn't show up very good. I have it, you can see it here. I've kind of mixed it in with this darker shade of blue in an attempt to create some sort of highlight. It's only kind of going okay. And I don't know what happened to the green. I thought the green was going to be a pretty color, but it's kind of dried into this weird, I don't know why it dried that way. Put the blue back in there. We're going to have to go back up to his collar to make some more blue. Like, you can't really use these as a watercolor. I mean, they are watercolors, but you almost kind of, just to get the color to show, have to go in waterless and almost pretend like it's a gouache or something, or else the pigments are too light. So no, they're not, you know, great. They're not great watercolors. The one thing that I do kind of like about this is that it kind of reminds me of you know, those paintings you see in like TJ Maxx and stuff, like the children's room paintings that are mass produced. Maybe that's what the key to those paintings are. Maybe to do children's artwork, I need to use crappy paints, and then it comes out with a little unique little design. I don't know. I think the worst paint in this entire collection is the pale lilac. For some reason, it just doesn't want to show up. Actually, the pale lilac, and I guess the regular lilac, this, I don't know, this color right here, that's pale lilac. It's definitely very pale, but on one coat it just dries almost paper color. There's really no variation. I mean, a normal watercolor, again, you can lay it down. It's almost like putting pressure on a pen. Normal watercolor, if you push hard, you get a dark color. If you lighten up, you get a nice lighter color. You can let it dry. You can go back over it again for even darker variations. This is just one almost like flat variation. But I mean, yeah, it's not, I don't know. No, I don't recommend this to anybody. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I wanted to have fun, because it sounded like fun. I wasn't expecting anything out of it. I don't really think anybody should go out and purchase it. You can get a much better pastel paint set for not that much more expensive. Again, this was just to create something kind of fun to do. I mean, I do kind of, maybe I trash talk too much. I'm not trying to trash talk. But, yeah. So, anyway, I think here in a few minutes when I let this dry again. We will just go ahead and outline this in colored pencil, and we'll add in some highlights with some white ink pen, and then it'll look fabulous. Okay, I'm done. That's about as far as I'm going to be able to take that. So I just outlined it in some colored pencils and then added some Posca white to make it kind of sparkly. So colored pencils don't like to lay on these watercolors either. And the watercolors I'm used to using, you know, it lays flat and smooth, and then you can just like pencil your way across it. This will not. It's just the way that the pigment of the paint clumps on, which is just disappointing in itself. But in any case, I did create a cute little llama. I think it's pretty cute. I like the colors of it. But that's all. So if you are interested in, for whatever reason, this set, again, it's by the website CottonOn. I'll link to it below. I don't really know why you'd want to buy this set at all, but it was a fun little experiment. And as always, thank you for whoever manages to get this far. But that's it, and then I'll see you guys the next time. Bye-bye.